She is the perfect goddess for thousands of geeks. She not only has the golden ratio of beautiful curves, she also has a delicate face like an angel. What's even more unbelievable is that she can change her clothes whenever and wherever she needs to. I don't know if you want to have such a beauty. Let me present you with a wonderful visual feast. The story takes place in the future in 2049. The Bionic Man is still being hunted by the Blade Runner. In this era, the line of demarcation between humans and bionics is becoming more and more obvious. The Bionic Man has been indoctrinated from the very beginning to serve mankind, and were forbidden to develop emotions with humans, because in the past few decades, the bionics have wreaked havoc on the human race. After Blade Runner's elopement with Rachel the Bionic, Terror Incorporated introduced a new generation of bionics. Although these bionics have the same lifespan as normal humans, but their right eye has an identifying mark on its right eye. However, the new generation of bionics started a series of riots that nearly led to total famine and the extinction of the human race. The government imposed a ban on bionic production. The company went out of business. As society continued to evolve and progress, an entrepreneur named Wallace threw genetic engineering to solve the world's food shortage, and created a business empire. Soon after, he purchased Terror Incorporated and modified its bionic technology. Wallace developed a new generation of bionics, a bionic human that was controllable and loyal. The government quickly lifted the ban on bionic production, and announced that it was decommissioning all old bionics, which means they will be hunted down. A profession known as the Blade Runner was born. Jack is one of them. Today he's going on a mission. HQ found traces of the Bionic Man in an abandoned factory. Jack was sent to decommission it. The Bionic Man is very powerful. It was easy for Jack to rub him against the ground. Jack was clearly no slouch. He showed remarkable fighting skills. He quickly overpowered the old Bionic.
How does it feel? Killing your own kind. And you new models are happy scraping the shit. Because you've never seen a miracle.
You heard right. Jack is also a bionic man. In today's society, bionics not only provide daily services to humans, even the high-risk profession of Blade Runner has bionics working for them. After completing his mission, Jack found a small flower under a dry tree. Curiosity killed the cat. Jack examined his surroundings carefully. He found a big box buried in the ground. He decided to take this discovery back to headquarters. But it was this discovery that would change his life forever. Jack has a bionic man. He was obviously not well received by humans. In the eyes of his colleagues, he was regarded as an inferior robot. They didn't even give him a second glance. Back at headquarters, after a rigorous round of bionic benchmarking, Jack was able to complete the mission successfully. Every time he completed a mission, Jack receives a bonus. Today, he used the money to buy a gift for his wife. He wanted to surprise her. That's right, it's this beautiful woman right here. She's got the face of an angel and the body of a devil. Her name is Joy. Not only can she make delicious food, she can change her clothes and dress as she pleases. And most importantly, Joey doesn't care about Jack's bionic status. She's the perfect wife for all the geeks out there. Unfortunately, Joey is just a virtual lover, made by Wallace and Gromit. Seeing the gift that Jack gave her, Joey looked very happy. That's a projector you can take anywhere. With this projector she can appear anywhere. Joy was thrilled to be out of the house for the first time. She hugged Jack tightly and expressed her gratitude. But before the romance could begin, was interrupted by a call from the chief. The officer asked Jack to go to headquarters immediately. The officer said he'd made a discovery. Jack had no time for his wife, so he picked up Joey and left the house in a hurry. When he arrived at the headquarters, the female officer told Jack that she'd found something in the crate she brought back. Inside was the skeleton of a bionic man. It was from an older model, 30 years ago. And what's even more incredible, she had a baby before she died. How can a bionic human reproduce? This is devastating news for the human race. If bionics can reproduce, it means that the boundary between humans and bionics will be completely broken. They will no longer be willing slaves to humans. They will fight for their rights and status. That's why this information must not be released to the public. Sir, I'm ordering Jack. Jack must find the child and kill him. This is a necessary action to maintain social stability. Jack said he had never killed a fetal bionic, but the female officer said, "What's the difference?
To be born is to have a soul, I guess.
Are you telling me no?
I wasn't aware there was an option then.
Attaboy.
Seeing that Jack still obeys, the officer said it's a good thing you don't have a soul. Jack was a little hesitant, but he also knew that the orders of his superiors could only be obeyed unconditionally, so he immediately set out to find the child and destroy it as soon as possible. Jack received the assignment from his leader. First, he went to the headquarters of the Wallace Corporation, trying to find out about the history of the Bionic Man. Unfortunately, due to a major power outage decades ago, all data from that time was lost. He didn't find much useful information. Luckily, through some of the remaining information, Jack discovered the existence of Deckard, the Blade Runner. So Jack followed the trail to the French cop. The cop knew Deckard from way back, but he told Jack he didn't know where Deckard was either. He retired a long time ago. There was nothing else to do. Jack had to go to the farm again to look for clues. This time he found a series of mysterious numbers under a tree. It brought back memories of his childhood. Back then, he had a toy wooden horse with these numbers engraved on it. In order to protect this little wooden horse, he hid it in the ash heap in the boiler room. Nowadays, it seems his life may be related to this mysterious number. In order to prevent the leakage of information, Jack decided to burn the place down. Meanwhile, Wallace and company were looking for the boy. Wallace knew Terra Incorporated used to have bionic fertility technology, but it's long since been lost. He's been working on it in secret, but he's never succeeded. So he desperately needed to find the child so he could study the technology. So he had his man Ruth steal the skeleton of the dead from the police station. On the other hand, Jack came to the database. He guessed that the mysterious number could be someone's birthday. He thought it might be the key to solving the case. By searching the data of children born on that day, Jack found 2 children, a boy and a girl, with identical genetic sequences, which means one of them is a fake. The data showed that both children had been in the same orphanage. The girl died of an illness and the boy mysteriously disappeared. That's the same orphanage where Jack spent his childhood. He began to wonder if he was the boy. To find out more about what happened, Jack went to the original orphanage to investigate. He asked the director to provide him with files from 30 years ago. When the director found the notepad, he found a whole year's worth of records missing. It was obvious that someone had tampered with them to hide the truth about something. During a subsequent visit to the orphanage, Jack found that this place is exactly the same as in his memories. So he followed his childhood memories to the dark boiler. Jack actually found the wooden horse that he hid in the cooker as a child. The discovery was a complete reversal of what he'd known. But Joey became very excited, because it could mean that Jack was a natural-born boy, and not created by man. So Joey gave Jack the human name Joe. Jack was happy to have a human name, but there was one more thing he had to find out, and that was to verify the authenticity of his memories. He went to Dr. Anna's office, a memory maker who specializes in outsourcing services for Wallace Company. Anna has been sick since she was 8 years old. Separated from her parents, she's been forced to live with this immune system. In order to help humans control their clones, humans create a memory specifically for the bionic. Jack asked Anna to help him verify his memory, to make sure the memory is real. What he didn't expect was when Anna saw the child with the wooden horse. When she saw the child with the wooden horse, it was this action set the stage for the film's dramatic reversal. Anna told Jack that this memory was real. At this moment, Jack was finally sure that he was the boy. He was real. He had a real life. This discovery sent waves through Jack's heart, causing him to fail the bionic benchmark test, which meant he could be forced out of the service. When pressed by his superior officer, he had to lie to the chief that he was having an emotional breakdown because he killed the natural-born clone. The officer believed him. He complimented him on a job well done. He was promised he'd get out of here alive, but in 48 hours, he'd have to take another benchmark test. That's how Jack was able to leave headquarters. Jack was expected to run for his life immediately. Instead, he chose to sneak back to his kennel. Just as he entered the house, the girl who had been hitting on him followed him in. She knew that Jack's virtual wife, Joy, existed. He invited the avatar's image to overlap and synchronize with her body. That's how it works. It's like Jack was cooking with Joey. It makes up for the fact that he can't do the revolution with Joey in the flesh. The rest of the episode is too shocking. I'll watch it for you. The next morning, the woman woke up. She slipped a mysterious object into Jack's clothes and left in a hurry. Jack was ready to get out of there, too. First, he removed Joey's antenna and wiped out all the data, and then he put her in the mobile projector and took her with him. Jack went to the black market to find out where the Trojan horse came from. After some scanning, the Trojan horse was found to have a high level of radiation associated with it. There's only one place in the world that fits the bill, and Jack knew it. He's already made up his mind where he's going. On the other side, Ruth, who had lost Joey's signal, went to the police station and found the policewoman. She asked her to tell her where Jack was going, but she didn't want to talk to her, so Ruth crushed the officer's water glass.
You tiny thing. In the face of the fabulous new, your only thought is to kill it. For fear of great change, you can't hold the tide.
That's how Ruth brutally murdered the chief. Then she found Jack's whereabouts on her computer. By now, Jack had arrived at the target location. It's a city in the middle of nowhere, because it was once hit by a nuclear bomb, so the place is full of radiation. He entered the building cautiously. It's full of hidden mechanisms, apparently. This was once a busy place. Suddenly, an assassin, Deckard, appeared behind Jack. He's holding a pistol, and he sees that Jack's a cop. He fired a bullet. Jack was knocked off the ground floor, and Deckard followed in pursuit. In order to show his sincerity, Jack decided not to fight back. He took a few punches from Deckard, and Deckard got tired of fighting, suggested that we go to the bar and have a drink. At this point, Jack was basically sure the man in front of him was his father, but he didn't say it outright. He asked Deckard a few questions. What was the boy's mother's name? Why did she send him to the orphanage? And Deckard saw that Jack was honest enough to tell him the truth, so she told him the truth. The mother was a woman named Rachel. For the sake of his child's safety, he set up an elaborate scheme, and sent the child to an orphanage, in order not to expose the identity of the child as a father. He has never seen his child. The blackout 30 years ago was to erase all traces of the child.
Sometimes to love someone, you gotta be a stranger.
The strangers.
Sometimes don't love someone, you got to be a stranger. The strangers. Unfortunately, something happened to Jack before he could identify himself with his father. Ruth found this place on the computer's location, and that's how Deckard's whereabouts were revealed. They blew open a door with a cannonball. They forced their way into the building in a flying car. They took Deckard straight to the building. They must have been trying to get the kid's whereabouts out of him. Jack was also seriously injured. He's not even close to being able to rescue his father. Even his favorite virtual wife was trampled into oblivion. He didn't even get to say "I love you" at the end. It's really too bad. The beauty just went offline. I don't know how long it took. A group of mysterious people arrived here. It turns out that the locator in Jack's pocket was a locator. He was saved by the woman who took his virginity. Through dialogue, we learned that they are a bionic army. They've been fighting for the liberation of their kind. The leader of the group invited Jack to join them, to fight for the freedom of the bionics. Jack's blood was already pumping. Isn't this exactly what he, a natural-born bionic human, wants to do? But then the words of the lead sister doused his little flame. It turned out that the child born that year was a girl, but he was a boy. The news was like a bolt from the blue, splitting Jack's perceptions in two. He didn't realize he was artificial too. Those memories were implanted. The dreamer was the baby girl. Then he realized why Anna wept when she saw that memory, because they were her memories. She was Deckard and Rachel's child. While Jack was lost in thought, while Jack was deep in thought, Deckard was taken to Wallace's headquarters, interrogated by the boss of Wallace himself. To get the old man to talk, Wallace went all out. He used the genes of Rachel, the clone, Rachel 2. Deckard looked at the woman coming out of the darkness. It was like dreaming back 30 years to when he first met Rachel. It was almost too much for the old man to handle. He was about to give it all away, but with the will of a killer, he escaped from the dream. He said something to Wallace. Her eyes are the wrong color. He turned his back on Rachel 2 without looking back, and then there was a loud bang. Rachel's clone took her lunch on the spot. Wallace saw that the soft way was not good enough, so he went for the hard way. Wallace ordered him to be taken to the colony and tortured. The flight was suddenly attacked. It was Jack. He made a decision against his ancestors. He chose to join the bionic army, to fight for the freedom of his kind. The car was hit and forced to land on the beach. Jack and Rufus were met by a series of gunshots. The next thing you know, they're in a fight to the death. The fight was a back and forth affair, but the sea was about to drown Deckard in the car. Jack was distracted. Rufus took advantage of the situation to perform a killing blow. Jack, stabbed through the stomach, slowly fell. Rufus was about to pick up Deckard as a victor. Jack came out of nowhere and grabbed her by the neck. Then he pushed her head into the water until she died. It was a duel to the death. Jack won. Jack didn't take Deckard to the bionic army. He took him to the chamber where Anna was. As a father, he deserves the right to know what's happening to his child.
All the best memories are hers.
Why do you?
Go meet your daughter.
Best memories of hers. What am I to you? Go meet your daughter. Deckard walked into the chamber. He finally saw his child for the first time, and Jack lay there in the snow staring up at the sky. And then he closed his eyes, leaving the audience with an imaginative ending. As a sequel to the classic sci-fi film Blade Runner, Blade Runner 2049 has received widespread critical acclaim for its thoughtfulness and excellence. The film's storyline is full of suspense and also contains thoughts and discussions about reality and the future. I don't know what you think about the bionic man in front of the screen. Feel free to express your opinion in the comments section, and finally follow me to make you happy and not get lost. Okay, that's all for this video. Follow me for the next step.